This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is probably powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, and it blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, exploits, bots, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price right now, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. Speaking of Instagram, as we were in the last segment, at least at the end, Meta has been doing some interesting things over there. Some of you may have had the, let's call it a privilege. I wouldn't say that. I would say the disadvantage of being part of the test group for the new interface that the company has been testing. Seems like a small percentage of people, unfortunately, including myself, were included in that test group where Instagram decided that they liked TikTok so much that they were going to replicate their interface. The problem is, people who use Instagram do so because they don't want to be using TikTok. And so the response was swift and harsh. During MetroCon, Erin Hurst and I had a lot of conversations. She had already received the new interface and had stopped using Instagram entirely for browsing, just for posting at that point, because she hated it so much. Then a couple days later, I got it, and Instagram got ignored by me as well. So Meta has decided to halt the rollout of this terrible new interface that everybody hates. Hooray! Ish. So, two things. One is, this is likely not a permanent solution. The likelihood is that they're going to tweak it and try again, or at the very least wait until the firestorm has subsided some and see what happens on a second attempted rollout, because they're very excited about this. So I don't suspect that this is dead forever. But one of the things that came along with this horrible new interface was a new policy of showing you a ton of content that you did not ask for. Constantly, I would see posts from people that I don't follow. It's like, hey, we suggest this because, well, I don't know. And you look at it and you're like, I don't understand why you're suggesting this to me. Go away. Well, the bad news is that's going to be sticking around, and in fact, over the next year, going to be getting worse. Mark Zuckerberg has confirmed that by 2023, at some point in 2023, he wants 30% of the content in your feed to be from people you don't follow. 30%, Abram. That's almost a third of the content in your feed will be suggested other stuff. I get the idea of doing some curation. Some. But 30%? That's crazy.
Wow. That's a good way to just sling more advertising at you.
Advertising's on top of this, though. This is other creators that they want to promote themselves to you for whatever reason. I think they think it's going to keep people
the
on
whatever
the
reason more. Is the whatever reason could be very interesting, right?
Right.
I mean, also the whatever reason could be to make you angry. I mean, you know that. I mean, there been, I think, a number of some research or memos that have come out that Facebook deliberately exposes you to things that they think will make you angry, that you, because they find that generates more interaction than things that you like. So rather than showing you your friends' vacation photos or their kids or their dog or things that are just, that's nice, it's sweet, they want to show you
political rants.
They show you a political rant that you disagree with, so you'll be angry, so you won't, so you'll stay engaged. So, that's not advertising, but
True.
it is another way of making sure they keep you engaged. Like, what if all your friends are really boring? I guess, boring in a nice way, right? They don't do anything to upset anyone. Um,
To me, that's
Now they'll show
algorithmic
you.
insanity. For me, the more of this that I see, it's the reason why the apps are gone. I mentioned it in the last
Right,
segment. It's the reason why the apps are gone. I gave up on the platforms because of this. And Meta, I want
right.
you to hear
So,
that. I I have stopped using Instagram because of how much other stuff I see.
right. I would really like to see an open source, or an open source social network
Mm.
that which gave the user full control over their feed,
Oh, that would be
where
wonderful.
you could say, like, for example, why can't you just get an everything feed? Like, everyone that I'm friends with, every time they post, without favor or without like prejudice or favor, like, just chronologically give me everything that they post.
Well, Twitter
And
has given you that ability back. Temporal timeline on Twitter is back. You have to go into your settings to change it, but you can go from algorithmic timeline to temporal timeline. As of a couple of weeks ago, I think it's brand new that
right,
one's back. But Facebook got rid of it. They relegated it to a second class citizen, and then they put it under like an ellipsis menu, and now it's gone entirely. You can't even get back to that anymore. And
right,
Instagram
because
never gave you
that's
the rollback option. They just went, oh, it's
that
gone
would be
back.
the quote unquote fair thing,
Uh huh.
right? Like, you asked for this information, we're giving you all the information, we're not picking which things are
Right.
important. You decide what's important. if
And you
if
can
you don't think that something is important, you can hide it, you can
sure.
unfriend that person.
And you can I would accept what Instagram did for a while, which was a temporal timeline of things you hadn't seen yet. I'm on board with that. If I've already read it, it can go below the fold. Okay. I'm good with that. That actually makes using the app easier. And then, you get to it and it says you're all caught up, and then it goes back to essentially to the stuff that you had seen. I'm good with that if we want to do something. But this whole, well, we think you should see this post first. Why? Don't worry about it. I am worried about it. Why did you show me that one? And then we suggest this account to you. Why? Don't worry about it. I'm never a fan of don't worry about it. So, I
Yep.
don't know. I don't think this is going to
Not
work for
much.
them, personally. I don't think this is going to work for them. I think 30% is too much curation. I can see, if you want to show me every dozen posts, you want to show me, we think you'll like this creator because they post photos of dogs, whatever. But a third of your feed? That's bonkers. That's not curation,
Yeah.
that's force feeding.
Well, at a certain point, people are going to get annoyed, and just as quickly as I mean, there's nothing technologically wonderful about any of these social networks.
True.
So if people get annoyed, they will leave.
Absolutely. Uh, uh, we can we can ask News Corp for an example of that with MySpace.
Right. It you don't need there's nothing inherently keeping people at any of these. So what's keeping people there are other people, and once
Mm-hmm.
other people start to leave, you'll leave too. So
Yeah.
it, it's or something more appealing comes along. Like a couple of years ago, nobody was talking about TikTok. Now it's a big thing,
Right.
you know. So I don't know if TikTok will be around and popular in another 2 years. Who knows?
Exactly. Because
So
because we were just talking about TikTok, and I mentioned Vine. Remember when you couldn't scroll through your Twitter feed without a Vine video, and then they went, we're done.
yeah, Yep.
It happens all the time. So yeah, MySpace gave way to Facebook, and Facebook started to give way to Instagram, which is why they bought them. And then Snapchat seemed to come and go. There's a great example. Snapchat came and went. Whoever.
Yep.
We mentioned it in our opening, but that's only because I refuse to have a corporate TikTok account because I don't want them tracking anything that I'm doing because they scare me more than any of the others. But, I mean, when was the last time somebody said follow us on Snapchat? Other than us, I don't know. Might be time for us to pull that out of the opening.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, doing a show like CES or Collision, companies were putting Snapchat accounts in their sign-up forms. This year for CES, I didn't get a single one. It's still on the form. Nobody put it in.
Yep.
So they come and go.
They come and go, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Instagram and Facebook could very well go down
all over themselves.
Granted, Granted, I'm sure Zuckerberg will still be a billionaire, but those things are not necessarily forever.
That's true. That is true. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.